Interesting. I don't. It was working before. Can you hear me now? Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me? Okay. I hate that. I don't know why it was working before. I don't know why that happened. I don't know why that happened. Anyway, as I was saying, when you couldn't hear me, it is Tuesday night. Time for the Painfully Honest podcasty live time thingy. And tonight we're going to talk about all different kinds of things. We're going to talk a little bit about Prime Day. I mean, Prime Day gives me the heebs in the same way that that like Black Friday gives me the heebs, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I don't know exactly how to feel about Prime Day. But we'll talk a little bit about it. There's some good deals out there that I think maybe you want to know about. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And then there's also some other stuff. I pulled some news stories that we could speak about. Of course, we're always going to answer the questions in the comments and all that kind of stuff. How's everybody doing this evening? How is everyone? I got some water this evening. I got my it's not really Altoids, it's guitar picks, but I don't know. So who's out here? We got New Flamenco, we got Ray, we got Gwendolyn, we got Brett, we got Genosis, we got Choo Choo 7474. Who else is here? So I don't know. Why aren't you scrolling? My friends, it happened. I'm back on the Mac, and it's giving me more problems than the PC was. I don't know why. Anyway, Harshit is here. So yeah, good to see everyone. Good to see everyone. Michael's here. So yeah, we're just chilling, as it were. Just kind of doing the thing. So, like I said, not really a huge fan of the Prime Day, but it's worth talking about the Prime Day. Nighttime over there, TechMed, Rainier Richter. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Let's just pull up some of this new stuff and see what we got. Alan, good to see you. Hope things are well in Ireland, the land of ire. Yeah, so that's not the page I wanted to look at. That's the page I was looking at. Although I was interested in this story, I didn't expect to like spatial audio, but I'm a convert by Ben Lovejoy. Don't know what that's all about. He's got himself a PreSonus mixer there, so good for him. Well, it's a long article. I'm gonna have to read it some other time. But I did want to point out a couple of good deals that Tom's Guide had here, and I assume they might still be available if stock is available for the Prime Day. Galaxy S21 $599. That's a pretty good deal if you want to get that phone. S21 Ultra $899. Which is a really good price considering it was $1,200 when it came out. Note 20 down to $749 on Amazon. So yeah, and then the A42 is $300. So yeah, I gotta say, I'm back on the iPhone now, so I could do the Apple Music stuff. But I really liked the I really, really like the Galaxy S21 Ultra, and I just sold it because I can't bring myself to like keep phones anymore. And yeah. Aldo Fern says, "Did I hear the story about how Amazon destroys millions of dollars of merchandise each year?" I don't doubt it. I mean, restaurants throw away thousands of dollars worth of food a day, so it's probably probably similar, I would guess. Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me with the way that they return, with the way that the returns work on Amazon. I'm not totally surprised. Because one thing that's very interesting is now they do returns. If you have something small to return, they return them in like batches, right? So you just get a code and you go and you drop it in, and then it gets put in with a bunch of other stuff and then sent off in a big bundle. And then of course there have been those YouTubers like Random Frank P did a bunch of videos where he bought like $1,000 worth of Amazon returns, like just random returns, and found some cool stuff. So it doesn't surprise me that, given the amount of stuff that they move through, and probably the difficulty there is in getting that stuff back out, that some stuff gets destroyed. But yeah, I mean they are throwing away perfectly good stuff. I wouldn't doubt it at all. And honestly, if you want to help this problem, have your browser direct you first to Amazon. What is it? The Overstock or the outlet? Amazon outlet. You can get some good stuff there for relatively cheap. I mean, especially if you're buying something that that is kind of regular, like that is kind of a mainstream product. You're not going to find much much of the more esoteric things like audio or probably like electronic type stuff. But maybe some Sony headphones and stuff like that you find. So, but yeah, Christopher, thank you. I did get a haircut today. First official haircut in 2 years. I gave myself a haircut back in March of 2020. And that was the last time any sort of shearing device had been applied to my head. So yeah, this is like, I don't know. I didn't take a shower after I got back. So I'm all itchy and stuff. You know how that is. It's just terrible. It's terrible. So yeah, I don't doubt that Amazon's throwing stuff away, and it is a shame, and it is wasteful, and yes. Waste is the defining characteristic of consumer society. It certainly is. And that's what we are. We are a society that does not make anything, we consume. Although, might be turning the corner. People are, people spent a year plus, almost a year and a half at home. People started making things. So so everybody's saying I look younger. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think I look younger. Oh man, I love it. So Rainier sending a super sticker, pair character lying on the side, raising arm while saying, "How's it going?" Yes, I love that sticker. So yeah, so I don't do I also trimmed down the beard a little bit. I had because like once the hair got smaller, the beard got bigger. I don't know. I also need to lose like 25 pounds, 30 pounds. So. Yeah, I'm looking at myself now and I'm like, oh my God, I look so. The hair hides the fatness. So anyway, yeah, I got the haircut. Went to Great Clips this morning, and just got it done. I used to pay a lot of money for haircuts. I used to pay upwards of like $75 for a haircut back in the day, and these days, yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't matter. Who am I trying to impress, except for all these people on the internet? But the weird thing is, Genosis says I look 100 years younger, but I did notice when I got it cut, like it looks more. The gray is more visible to me now. So maybe drop a 1 in the comments if you think I should if you think I should dye my hair. Drop a deuce in the comments if you think I should not. I don't know. Oh man. Yeah, Amazon, the crazy thing is that okay, so Mackenzie, I can't remember her last name. She was Bill Gates, or not Bill Gates, but Amazon dude, his wife, right? They got divorced and she got half of his $1 billion, like $5 billion or whatever, or more, whatever. I don't know. He's worth many, many billions of dollars. She got half of everything and she is giving it away. She's given away like over $2 billion so far. $2 billion with a B dollars so far. And that's just, I saw this article that the headline was, The headline was she's redefining altruism or something like that. I don't know. But I mean, I think it's a great thing to give away money when you have more money than you could ever possibly spend. Um, but she's giving like huge amounts to really good causes. So I think that's fantastic. I mean, I wish that there was a way that you could run a business like Amazon at the scale that Amazon runs, and have not have gross amounts of waste. But I don't think that it's possible. I don't think that it's possible, unfortunately. Danny Wood in the house from Toronto. Um, Now, are you playing COD or are you playing Warzone? Because yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it. It would be hard. My friend Curtis, who I play video games with all the time, we spent the last year and a half or whatever playing Warzone, and now he can't stand to play Warzone because he doesn't like losing as much as you have to lose when you play Warzone. And I mean, everybody's got their thing, and that's his thing. He doesn't like losing, and I'm the kind of person where it's like, okay, if I am in the top 10 and I didn't suck too bad, then it's a good game for me. Uh, so yeah, but now I don't get to play any Warzone. So I mean, I guess I could, but sometimes it's a codependent relationship, video game wise, with me and Curtis. It's just it's dysfunctional. We've been friends since 1989. So Danny says, as a teen, dropping a deuce meant taking a poo. It still does. It still does. And so I made a poop joke. I made a poop joke. Man, the numbers have been down on the live stream. We're at 41 people. We used to get upwards of 100 and something people. Where is there? Is it me? Is it me? Is there something wrong with me that is causing people to leave or not come around anymore? I can take it. I can take it. Give it to me straight. Is the one man show wearing thin? I don't know. These are all questions. But yes, Genosis, man, the Battlefield 6 trailer and the gameplay stuff that we saw. Whew, whew. Battlefield 6 is going to be amazing. I can't wait. I even tried to go back and play Battlefield 4. Like a bunch of my clan mates were like, "Hey, let's have a Saturday night Battlefield 4 thing." Everybody's excited about Battlefield 6. Oh my god. Like the reaction time and everything else that goes along with Battlefield 4 is so different than playing Warzone or any kind of COD thing. And it's different than Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1 as well. I could not play. It got so frustrating. I played for like an hour and I just couldn't even aim. And then I was just like, I can't do it. Life is too short to be frustrated by a game that came out 8 years ago. Chronic Town, you asked me a question in the comments, and yeah, I'm gonna get the schedule for doing consulting and chit chatty things with me up on the Painfully Honest Tech website. That's painfullyhonesttech.com. I need to tweak the schedule a little bit, but I'm still doing it. So yeah, definitely can hook up that way. If you guys are interested, I am doing consultations of any kind, whether or not it's tech related or gear related, or I mean, I'd give you advice on your love life if you would want that. I've been very successful in love, so I'd be willing to do that as well. I'd be willing to just sit and chat for a half an hour, anything like that. Painfullyhonesttech.com. Just book yourself a time and we will meet in the virtual space. Probably need to change the frames. No, the frames are like the whole channel now. I can't change the frames. The frames are the whole channel. The whole channel is the frames. I got these frames because I was already using red frames in the channel. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Battlefield 6 is gonna be fantastic, but I still have not been playing very many video games. I don't know why. I have a PlayStation 5 right over there. I have a Xbox One Series X out in the other room, and I haven't played any games. I haven't played any games. So yeah, I started playing Horizon Zero Dawn. I played about an hour and a half of that. When it comes to story games, I'm always really reluctant to get myself locked into them, because then it's like hours and like potentially hundreds of hours of time spent going through the story games. Whereas like with the first person shooter, you can play a couple of rounds, you can be done. It's bada bing, bada boom. You're in, you're out. You know. Um, so yeah, I just haven't been playing any games. And I like playing with people. I like playing with people because I don't know. It's just like this and that, and playing video games is like my only social life. Oh man. So yeah, black, gray, and red. Oh yeah, I was like, "Where's the gray?" And then I realized. Uh, Danny says maybe less viewers because of the amount of daylight now during your live stream, coupled with less COVID, means people are enjoying the weather and less COVID. Well, it's possible. I'm going to assume that it means that everyone hates me, because that's my default position, and and so I just lead from there and go. Now, another thing that, when Zach was here, and Viper, well, Viper's been back, but when Zach was here, Zach always wanted to talk about like the Marvel stuff and all that. We haven't talked about that for a while. I have what might be an unpopular opinion about something Marvel related, and that is that I think that 2 episodes in, Loki might be the best thing that the MCU has ever done. Ever. It is the smartest thing. It is it is so smart. It is so funny. It is like messing with our heads when it comes to the whole when it comes to the whole just what has happened so far in the MCU and what is going to happen later. I mean, I've been curious, like, how are they going to set up this whole, like, now there's going to be a second phase of MCU. We've already had, what was it, 18 movies or something like that, in some kind of ungodly number of movies. And now we're going to have phase 2 that's not going to have those characters. And, being a fan of comic books, as I have been for so many years, I know that Marvel likes to play around with their timelines. Peter Parker wasn't made to be 17 for 40, 50 years. So they keep messing around with stuff. And I have a feeling that this is all going to be tied into the Thanos snap and some of those like possible outcomes that Doctor Strange, when his head was like flipping around all over. I have a feeling that this series is going to be integral to setting up what we've already seen as something and what we see next as something else. That is what I think Loki is in the midst of doing. Because when Loki died, sorry, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't caught that last Avengers movie. I was just like, no. I mean, no. So now we know it was like not him. It was another Loki, because apparently there are many. He is a trickster in more ways than we ever could have imagined. And thank goodness. I mean, the mullet is still in full force, but it is much more tame on this TV show than it has been in past in past iterations of Loki. I mean, that mullet that Loki had been wearing in the movies was just completely out of control. How did that ever get by? It's like Loki just walked in from 1988 and was like, "Hey, it's me. I've got a mullet." and they just rolled with it. They just rolled with it. So I think that we're going to see Loki be very very much integral to what happens next, and very, they're I don't know if you guys watch like Screen Rant and some of these other, they do that do postmortems and Easter eggs and all these videos. Like, man, I don't even know how they do it. But the whole thing about like all these Easter eggs that are in there, and all of the timelines that are splitting off, and all of the, like, they're doing screenshots of the screens at the TVA saying that, this happens here, and of course these people know everything that's happened at whatever time. But yeah, it's very interesting. Now, so Genosis says here, and this is interesting: hate time travel and multiverses so much, it's such a lazy crutch. It's like timeline cops are too good, reserving one timeline to rule them all. I'd even go out and say I'd work. See, here's the thing. Like, I agree with you. Okay. One of the big, like, stone tablet rules of writing is, first you have to know the rules, and and then you set about breaking them, right? And the one thing that started to get a little tired for me with the MCU was that it was just a little too bland. There wasn't enough at stake. The characters weren't interesting enough. It was just it was popcorn. It was popcorn. It was like, it was like a Snickers bar. It was enjoyable but not filling. You know what I'm saying? Now with this, they are bringing different facets of storytelling into the mix, and sort of playing with conception and playing with our ideas about what things might be, and I love the idea of that. And that's like the multiverse thing is, and time travel is amazing, is fun for me. Okay. I mean, I say, like, one of the things all right, I will stop reading a book if within the first 50 pages, the character recounts a dream. Okay, I'll stop reading a book. Just, it's done. If a character in the first 15 to 20 pages describes themselves looking at themselves in the mirror, which is like the lazy writer's way of telling the reader what the character looks like, I will stop reading the book. There are a lot of reasons why I would stop reading a book or stop watching a movie, and if time travel and multiverses and all that kind of thing are used cleverly, and to sort of upset expectations and sort of mess with things, then I'm down. I'm down with it. Now, so is Lady Loki really a Loki at all? Well, it's very interesting. So I after I watched the episode last week, I sat and watched about an hour's worth of these post-mortem videos. And so there are a couple of different characters that she could be based on, but maybe not. And one of them is that she is a version of the Enchantress, or like an amalgamation of the Enchantress and another character. So is she a Loki? Maybe not. They've sort of dangled enough red herrings out there that you don't even expect, that I'm not willing to go one way or the other and say that there is or there isn't. But I'm really excited to see what happens. I was very shocked to see a female, but I guess that it makes sense now. Like, Loki is non-gender specific in the comics, or at least in certain iterations of the comic timeline. So, um, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens there, because I don't know. I still don't think we really know, and I know that Tom Hiddleston has gone on and done interviews and said it's episodes 4, 5, and 6 just like start to blow minds. So I'm very excited for that. The one thing about time travel and multiverse writing, as Genosis says, um, now I'm going to put on my nerd hat here because I love like Time After Time. That book was so fantastic. I haven't read it for 30 years, but fantastic book. If you've ever read Connie Willis, she does some amazing time travel stuff. She wrote this book called the Doomsday Book. That is a book about researchers in the future who figure out how to travel back in time, and they travel back in time as historians to sort of see things in as they're happening. And one of the researchers goes back to the time of the bubonic plague, so like the 1300s, and gets stuck and has to live through the bubonic plague times, like the Middle Ages and all that. I forget for how long, but it was so intense and so interesting, and I just can't I just can't get enough of that stuff. And there isn't enough of it, enough good stuff. Now, this writer named Harry Turtledove is well known for his alternate history stuff. But I've never read any of his stuff. I was a big fan of the Marvel comic What If. What If was like a bi-monthly comic, I believe. It was always a giant-sized issue where they would take some integral moment in the Marvel universe. I know that one was like, what if the Hulk had killed Wolverine, I think? Because that was like the first meeting. Well, the first time Wolverine appears is in a comic where he fights the Hulk, and of course he doesn't die. So, um, but what if he had? And then we wouldn't have Wolverine, so we wouldn't have the best Marvel movie of all time, and that would be a sad thing. Probably also one of the worst Marvel movies of all time. But hey, super sticker, red box of popcorn. Thank you, Rainier. I appreciate it. Man, the chat is quiet tonight. Everyone is quiet. It's been one of those days. Did you guys know? Not only did I get a haircut, but I also became a grandfather. Which, yeah, a week ago today, my first grandson was born. Now, this is its own sort of like alternate history, I guess. But so I think I've talked on the live streams before about my son, who we adopted when he was 12, and he's just turned 21. His girlfriend has been living with us, and she just had a baby. She just had a baby on Tuesday. She's still living with us, so we have a baby in the house, which is, I mean, which is crazy, Um, my daughter is going to be 18 in November, so there hasn't been a baby in my house for a long, long time. But man, babies are at all at once very constricting. Very, you gotta be on the ball with baby, and then also just incredibly fun. So incredibly fun and very soothing. A baby is soothing. So yeah, so it's actually kind of cool. So yeah, I have two kids. Our daughter is ours. Um, our daughter is ours, and then we adopted our son when she was about 10 and he was 13. And so there's a super long and we were foster parents, foster to adoption to all kinds of drama, but it's now brought around this young grandchild. His name is Zayden, and just it's really fun. It's really fun. Chronic Town knows nothing about the Marvel universe or video games. I mean, did you come from your own alternate timeline? I mean, how can you not know that? I'm just kidding. You have seen Star Wars, right? I mean, I've met people who haven't seen Star Wars, and it's like it's like you know, living in the 1800s and not being a Christian or something in the United States. I don't know. Like Star Wars is its own religion. Do you know that there are people that follow Star Wars as a religion, as a real religion, like Jedi and midichlorians and all this stuff? It's weird. Um, yeah, the photos have been fun. The photos have been very fun. And yeah, I definitely had mixed emotions. I don't feel like I don't I you know grandparents are old, right? I mean that is a given, right? Grandparents are old, and so like this is yet another nail in the another brick in the wall. Let's say I don't want to make any I don't want to talk about coffins because I'm getting old, but yeah, another brick in the wall that's sort of building this whole temple to my oldness, and it's crazy because suddenly I'm like old as dirt. I don't want to be old as dirt. Um, uh, what is Joy? 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 Is that how you say it? I don't know. I don't know. Some of these names are not made to be pronounced. I don't think. People who have never watched Star Wars make me nervous. They make me nervous too. But then again, the people who like worship Star Wars as a religion, they make me more nervous. Um, because yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Like if Star Wars is your religion, how do you feel about like the stuff that was then taken out of the canon? Are those like books of the Bible that are no longer part of the Bible? I don't know. I'm riffing here, people. I'm riffing. I'm riffing because that's just how I do it. Aldofern says, my sister hasn't seen any of the big time historical movies, including Star Wars, Gone with the Wind, or The Wizard of Oz. She she must be angry. Like, why is she doing this to herself? It's so easy to see these things. So easy to see these things. Man, I saw Gone with the Wind. I think I was probably like 12 years old when I saw Gone with the Wind. See, this is the thing about being young when I was young and young now is that there wasn't so much to choose from. So once you watched like the Breakfast Club 100 times and all that kind of stuff, then you had to start going backwards, and there wasn't as much to go backwards to. So you end up watching all of the Hitchcock movies. You end up watching all of the Godfather movies. You end up watching all of the really good stuff from years gone by. You watch Citizen Kane. You watch all that stuff, and you watch Gone with the Wind, and 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 now there's so much media to choose from that kids just do not have any interest whatsoever like going back and watching a movie that's more than 20 years old. Like a 20-year-old movie is old to my daughter. And yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Chronic Town says he does exist in an entirely different time space continuum. Perhaps yes, that might be the problem. But then again, I mean, don't we all sort of live in our own space time continuum? Because like the passage of my time is not like the passage of your time, right? It's all very different. Um, but Chronic Town did see Star Wars on the first run. So did I. So did I. Summer of 1977. I was 6 years old. Yeah, 6 years old. No, oh geez. Yeah, I guess so. Man. And that was at a time too when they kept movies, like if it was a really popular movie, they would keep it in the theater like forever. So I think Star Wars was in the theater for like a year. I don't know. I can't remember exactly because I was so young. People say you don't remember anything from when you're like 3 and 4 years old or whatever. I guess I was 5 and then 6 when I saw the first Star Wars movie. I still remember it. I also remember going to see the Ten Commandments. Um, and and that movie scared the living crap out of me. I ran out of the theater. It scared me so bad. Um, um, yeah. It might not have come out in the summer. It might have come out. It might have come out around holiday time. I remember seeing it in the summer, and I also remember seeing Raiders of the Lost Ark in the summer. I went to see Raiders of the Lost Ark in the theater. Um, Gosh, probably 6 or 7 or 8 times. Um, so yeah, to me, like, I don't know, Genosis not watching Pulp Fiction. I mean, I guess that's okay. Um, I think Pulp Fiction is worth watching. Uh, but it's in that weird sort of awkward teenage phase where it was, super cool when it was a baby, and then it got awkward and nobody really wanted to talk about it because everybody copied it for so long, and now it might be turning around and becoming like, you know old, and you could watch it. May 25th, 1977. Thank you, Aldo. But yeah, I think it stuck around until Christmas time. I wouldn't doubt it. Never seen The Godfather. Oh my God, man! How do you live in modern popular culture? And there are so many references. I mean, you've at least. I mean, I feel like if you haven't seen The Godfather, watched most of The Office, seen The Big Lebowski, and I'm sure there are others, then you can't get half of all of the references made in pop culture these days. Uh, so so yeah, but The Godfather's good, but The Godfather to me, it's kind of like Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. It's good, but then like Godfather 2 is where it all comes together, and it's just mm, 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 really good. Now, see, here's the thing: you don't have to put it off anymore. It's available on some streaming service right now. Block a Sunday, get up at a decent hour, make coffee, start with The Godfather. By dinner time, you'll have watched all three, and you'll be done. Man, I just finished. Well, I haven't finished, but watched like all of the important seasons of The Office, like up through season 7, I think. My daughter and I watched them over the past several months, and some of that stuff is still really, really, really funny, and it's sort of aged gracefully into its teenage years. Um, but yeah, it's The Big Lebowski is available on Netflix. The first season, I don't know. I mean, the first season had a little bit of it had the cringe of the British show, but it like Americans don't do cringe as well as Brits do. So it had a little awkward it had to grow into itself. But then once Steve Carell got the hair plugs and they kind of found their stride, it got better and better and better and better. Um, Having watched the British and the American Office, I can say that I appreciate them both equally. Um, well, not equally. The British Office, I feel like maybe it would have developed more, but the British Office was kind of like, it just had those 2 seasons, right, and then it was done. Um, so like it had the one joke, and that was a good joke, and we never got to see if they came up with a different joke, right? So so I like the British show, but the American show to me was more because it allowed us to sort of it's kind of like The Wire. The Office might be The Wire of situation comedy. I don't know. I've never thought of it that way, but The Wire changed storytelling, like dramatic storytelling on TV, because instead of being episodic, it was like one narrative over the course of a season, and you got to really dive deeper into all of the different characters and their lives, and you got to know them more. And it wasn't so centered on just like one character and a supporting cast. So The Wire did that, and The Sopranos to a certain extent as well. But The Wire really perfected it. And The Office kind of did it as well with the situation comedy, where it was a continuation. You couldn't get into the what, okay, okay, Aldo, I'm worried about you. The Wire can take some time. Okay, The Wire can take some time, but I think you have to give it like 4 or 5, 6 episodes in season one to really catch its stride. And then season two and season three are like, yeah. So I'm going to prescribe to you at least a couple of more episodes of The Wire, but you have to know that you're getting into something that is like, unlike other police procedurals. I mean, it is really different. So, yeah, yeah. Rainier couldn't stop watching The Wire. I mean, when I was in grad school, so I went to grad school for writing, and it was when The Wire was like, so it was 2005 to 2007. I was in grad school, so The Wire was pretty current, and oh my god, there was so much Wire worship at the time. Like, we were all passing around box sets of DVDs, and everybody was just like drooling over it. Um, and yeah, it does take time. It helps. It helps maybe if you're hungover for a day or so, and all you can do is sit there and watch. Oh no, you can't watch one episode of The Wire. You can't just watch one episode of The Wire, because you won't even get like a pinky finger into the story. Police procedurals are. It is such an effective. It's the same as like hospital dramas. The reason that we gravitate toward police procedurals, hospital dramas, things like that, is because those are the occupations, those are the places where conflict on a daily basis is the norm. And so from a storytelling standpoint, it is a very rich row to hoe, right? So when you look at a police procedural, I never look at it as it being about the police, although of course it is. I look at I watch a police procedural, and like, I think about the intersection of sort of this entity of the law, right? The physical entity in the police, but then these normal people, and like we were talking about, space time continuums. Most people are out doing their thing; they're on their own space time continuum, and then all of a sudden they like meet the actual real, like, what do they call it? The sacred timeline of civic law, and their space time continuum gets all blown up. Um, Man, I like that stuff a lot, because it is they're inherently they're inherently finding people at their most vulnerable time, and then exploring the humanity of that, if it's a good show, right? If it's a good show. Homicide: Life on the Street is one of the best shows ever. And so here's the thing. Homicide: Life on the Street was kind of like the test run for The Wire, right? It was still an episodic police procedural, in that, like, it was a new case every episode, and the characters were doing their thing. But so a lot of the people who wrote The Wire and worked on The Wire also wrote and worked on Homicide. And so Homicide: Life on the Street, I mean, that show came out at a time when most police procedurals were pretty tame in terms of intensity. Um, and Homicide was like pretty raw. Rainier, thanks for being here. Have a good night's sleep. Thank you for hanging out. Yeah, Homicide: Life on the Street was really raw. I haven't seen it since it was on TV, and I don't know how well it would hang with the passage of time. But it was a really good show. It was a really good show, and so I just I'm addicted to like true crime podcasts and true crime YouTube channels and true crime this and true crime that. I'm addicted to all that stuff. In fact, like, that's all. Lately, all I've been watching on YouTube is true crime stuff, and then like fail stuff, as well as uh, those like you know those big like sort of videos where people crazy things happen to people. I don't know. I've been watching those and music stuff like it's no tech comes across my YouTube homepage at all anymore. Nobody that I know, no, no channel that I've subscribed to in the past, no tech comes across my homepage at all. I don't see any super sav. I don't see anything. I don't see nothing. I haven't watched a tech YouTube video in forever. Um, I'll look and see what people are doing. I mean, I'll look and see through my subscriber feed like what videos people are doing. But man, I haven't watched a tech video in a long time. Your favorite TV show of all time is Real Housewives of Altoona. Altoona is a cool town for central Pennsylvania, but but I don't know about best show ever. Um, yeah, I haven't been able like those kinds of reality shows. I can't do. I can't do. Like my daughter loves to watch Dance Moms. Whew. I have never seen a more evil, catty set of people all in one room, all at once. Altoona, Iowa. Okay. I think there is an Altoona, Iowa. I just always think of Pennsylvania. MASH was a great show. I still remember watching the final episode and then watching it also all the time in syndication back when there was no YouTube, so we watched like sitcom reruns. Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff out. There's a lot of good stuff out there now. It's kind of overwhelming. I'm finding myself overwhelmed. Yeah, MASH, like again, MASH is like a classic novel in that it doesn't age the way that other TV aged, right? I mean, the thing about MASH is it was already set at a time far enough away from the present day that it wasn't kind of it wasn't connected to the time. So like the costumes were of a period, and so everything was sort of already set out. And so again, it's a great sort of it's a great setting for drama. Again, you've got war, super dramatic, and then you've got hospital, also super dramatic, and then you've got like all the people that come and go out from the natural ebb and flow of what was going on at that time. Is so ripe with so many possibilities for storytelling. It's just unbelievable how ripe that was. And then the characters themselves developed. And I mean, you believed that. That's one of the only shows that I can think of where like when they were joking around and making their own hooch and all that kind of stuff. That was I felt like they were truly suffering, and they were finding these ways to get through it. Nuarta Yasa asks, "What the fuck is that?" Well, it is. It's just me talking about TV shows. What do you want me to talk about? I already talked about how you can get yourself a Samsung Galaxy S21 phone for super cheap now. Look, it's only on Amazon $5.99, $8.99 for the S21 Ultra, and just $749 for the Galaxy Note 20, which is still a phone that should have never existed. But they don't mention the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. So yeah, other things that happened. Oh yeah, that's that story. So, oh my goodness, these new images are our best look at Apple's leaked iPhone 13 design. Apple's iPhone 13 design is not leaked. That looks like an iPhone SE 1. I mean, this is a render. This is a render. It is not. It is not the iPhone 13 Pro, although the iPhone 13 Pro probably will kind of look something like that. So what? So what? Um, yeah. Boy Genius Report with yet another bullshit story. Thank you. I thought I'd public service announcement from 9 to 5 Toys. Nomad, friend of the show, base station. This base station thing, it's like the Air Power, but it works and it looks better, and it's made out of wood and leather. Charges multiple devices, $98. Then they've got their rugged cases for the iPhone 12s, AirPods rugged case, slim tile wallet. Nomad makes some really nice stuff. They really do. And I need to get more Nomad stuff into my life. But yeah, so Nomad has some stuff on sale right now. So if you're looking for some high quality leather goods for your mobile devices, then Nomad is the place for you to go. Redesigned high-end MacBook Air is coming and could launch later this year. Wow, that is some hard-hitting freaking news right there. Dua Rashid is just killing it with the news. Look who's mentioned. Our friend of the show, John Prosser, is in sentence number 2. Sentence number 2. Subordinate clause. So anyway, oh yeah, of course, Prosser remarks that the new MacBook Air will feature a number of design upgrades in a range of colors, like the 24-inch. Like, what design upgrades? Okay. Yeah, besides the colors. None, apparently. Prosser and Gurman also predict that the next-gen MacBook Air will leverage an M2 Apple Silicon chip instead of its predecessor, the M1, the current MacBook Air. See, again, like, none of this tracks. None of this tracks with, like, what Apple actually does. Apple is not going to, like, come out with M2 MacBook Airs before they turn over their entire line to the M series chips entirely. So I call honky bullshit. But, again, I could be wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about. Here's some headphones that are on sale. $50 off the AirPods Pro. $170 for the Bluetooth. Wow. So what is that? The 700s? $170 off the 700s, pretty good. $100 off of the WXM4s, good. I don't know these Sonys. Haven't tried the Echo Buds. That's not a Razer headset I would buy. Galaxy Buds, no, don't buy that. Jabra Elite, sure, those are good. JBL wired over ear gaming headphone for $40, don't buy that. Skull Candy, I mean, you know what you're getting if you buy Skull Candy. Okay. So there we go. Yeah. See, the thing is, like, have you guys? So I've been watching these videos of, like, people doing stupid things to themselves, and there was a video last year of this guy who, like, waxed his eyebrow, right, and he pulled off his entire eyebrow, and it was like smooth as a baby's bottom. I think that if John is wrong about whatever he prognosticates next, we should make him wax his eyebrows and do that, like, wax with the Q-tips thing in his nose to wax his nose hairs. That's what I mean, because it's got to go up in scale, right? You can't just keep doing the same thing. So we got to go up. We got to go up. And so if John is gonna prognosticate and then be wrong, he is going to have to wax something next time. He's going to have to wax something. And I want it to be his nose hairs or his eyebrows or both. But I mean, I'm open to John waxing his legs. I'm open to John waxing his back, his chest, his nether parts. whatever he wants to wax, I'm down. But if we're going to stake reputations on it, there's going to have to be a rising scale. So I mean, he could even wax like like his toe hairs. I don't care. Next time, waxing. Then we'll see how much this prognostication still goes on. Because once you start waxing things, it's really itchy when it starts to come back, right? So I mean, it just yeah, yeah. Also, I wanted to make you guys aware. Hey, look, that's me with a lot of hair just yesterday. Anyway, I put this up here because there are all of these great deals at drop right now. This is sort of their answer to Prime Day, but really good deals. If you haven't seen the video, watch the video. I explained to you what these things are, but fantastic stuff available. If you want to get yourself high quality headphone and DAC amp combo, you can do it right there. $300, $500, $1,000. It's all good. It's all good. So those are the things that I felt like talking about for the, like related to news type stuff. There's not really, if he's right, I wax something. I don't know. I mean, that's possible. But I mean, what am I going to wax? I see. This is the problem with Irish heritage. I have no chest hair. I have no back hair. I have very little leg hair. I got eyebrows. I just got a haircut. I'd shave my head as long as I keep like a quarter of an inch of hair. I don't know. I mean, why should I have to do something though? Because I'm not the one like staking my reputation on things. Am I? No. Man, yeah, Ace, you can't keep showing up late like this because like it's an hour into the show, dude. And I have talked about Star Wars. I have talked about The Wire. I've talked about alternate timeline narrative theory. I've talked about all kinds of different stuff. And I've also talked about how stupid these leaks are that keep coming out. How contrary to what Apple actually does, these leaks are. And yet, still, here we are. Here we are. One rant equals eyebrows? I don't know. Yeah, you missed the Star Wars stuff. We were talking about movies in general, like movies that people have to have seen in order to understand like pop culture references and that kind of thing. Like, man, Big Lebowski is on Netflix again now. I feel like I gotta watch it. I love that movie so much. And I mean, it's like the Coen brothers, like you've got Big Lebowski, you've got Fargo, you've got, and you've got No Country for Old Men. Man, All Dad Tech is in the house doing a thing. What are you doing, man? I haven't seen you on the Twitters or anything recently. I don't know why you haven't popped up in my feed, but wax his ass crack. You want John to wax his ass crack, or you want me to wax my ass crack? I mean, that would be intense. But $9.99 super chat from Alt Dad Tech. Thank you, my brother. Yes, am doing well. I am now we talked about this earlier too. I am a grandfather, which is just still as weird to say now as it was when it first happened last week. I don't know. Yeah, things are crazy. Things are crazy, but good. So thank you, my brother. Thank you. Let's see. Definitive Technology. I've heard they're really good. I have not had personal experience with Definitive Technology stuff, but I've heard that they're really good. I know like a lot of people speak very highly of them. I've just never had them in my house. So yeah. Another thing that's going on here. I got a haircut, and that happened. Man, great cuts $16. $16 for a haircut. Now you got to tip. You got to tip your hairdresser. Here's a funny story. I did not know that you were supposed to tip your hairdresser until I moved to New York City. And, I was getting haircuts every month or two, and I would just pay them. And I kept getting these really nasty looks. And then somebody told me that you're supposed to tip the hairdresser, the hairstylist, the whatever they are. And I had no idea. I had no idea that you were supposed to tip hairstylist. Okay. I knew about restaurants. I knew about some, but yeah, in New York, you tip everybody. It's like, guy comes to fix your toilet, you give him a tip. So yeah, I kind of felt bad today because I just like rounded up to $20, and then I was like, oh wait, that's not even enough. That's not even enough. But oh well. So yeah, man. What else is there? There is no tech news. Is there tech news? Is there tech news out there that we could talk about? Anybody know of anything other that is like a real thing and not some stupid leak that people are talking about? Don't play with matches. Okay. I don't think that's the kind of tip they were looking for. Oh yeah. Yeah. This one didn't have the percent. Like, I never thought about tipping a delivery driver. Never thought, nothing. I tipped the restaurant people. That was it. Yeah, I think we need to start a campaign. We need to start a campaign. Like, next time John Prosser is wrong, he needs to wax something painful. That's what I say. Chronic Don is so over the iPad Pro reviews. You're using one as your daily driver, if I recall. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, what are we supposed to talk about? The iMac is not worth talking about because it's just the same thing as the other stuff that came out before. The iPad Pro, I mean, we all know how disappointing it is, or not, to you, regardless. There's nothing to talk about. And I was watching Paul's Hardware, and he was doing a Q&A show, I guess, that he does every so often, and somebody asked if tech YouTube was dying, and I hadn't really thought about it. I mean, I'd thought about individual pieces of it, but like, of course, he's a PC YouTuber, so he's looking at it more from the PC side. But thinking about it, on that end, they can't get graphics cards. They can't do computer builds. So, everything's so expensive. So yeah, I mean, the PC guys are suffering, and girls. I don't mean guys in guys. I mean guys as in everybody. Okay, don't cancel me. But yeah, I mean, by this time last year, we would have had an LG phone. We would have had the Pixel, probably would have been announced and released, or at least close to it. Not last year, but in typical years. We're not getting a note phone this year. We are going to get a Fold. I mean, the number of smartphones that are coming out is just not. There's just not many of them. There's just not many. So it's like, it's kind of the same thing as PC tech, where there's just not as much to talk about if you're a smartphone focused channel. Retro tech is doing good things. I mean, I love the idea of retro tech. I watch 8-Bit Guy sometimes. I watch Tech Moan sometimes. But yeah, I would love to do retro stuff, but at the same time, like, it's a lot of work. I don't know if the Fold 3 is in mass production or not. Now, I did get an email today from one of the affiliate companies that I work with, and I guess Samsung is going to be doing some pushing of the folding phones here soon, both the ones that exist and then the new ones that will be coming out. Like this time last year, we had the fold, like the what was this one? Um, the clamshell one. I forget what it's called. Whatever. Um, so yeah, don't worry, Yates. I wouldn't be where I am today if I worried about making everyone happy. Now, where I am today is either good or bad, depending on how you want to look at it. Um, I haven't, but yeah, did you notice I haven't gotten the Pixel 5? I kind of just like stopped paying attention to the Pixels after the Pixel 3, but I've heard so many good things about the Pixel 5. So you got your Pixel 5 after you had the 12 Pro Max, and you so yeah. I don't. Oh yeah, the Z Flip. That's the one. Thank you, Ace. Thank you, Ace. It doesn't even flip. It does this. The Galaxy Fold Muppet, right? Um. So yeah, it's just like things are just getting really like it's silly season beyond silly season. Um, the leaks are part of it, but the leaks were around last year too. So leaks started really gaining speed last year because there wasn't any tech coming out. And now there's still not any tech coming out, and we don't know when it's going to come out. and and so yeah, we there's just so what's next? What do we talk about next? I mean, I'm enjoying talking about the audio stuff. To be frankly honest, I'm really enjoying talking about the audio stuff, and I don't care if I talk about anything else. I don't know if I can make a living talking about the audio stuff, but plenty of people seem to do well with the audio stuff. So I just have to stick with it. I just have to stick with it. Um, but I like it. Um, Chronic Town says Tech YouTube is colossally desperate. It seems grasping at the least straw. Uh, but if that's what you've hitched your wagon to, what's to do? Well, you could just do something else. That's the sad thing is that like I think YouTube has reacted to the pandemic in a certain way, and that's impacted people who make YouTube videos, and then the external world and everything that's going on in the external world has impacted the way creators are making their content, and so there's just all kinds of weirdness out there now. And at a certain point, for me, I just have to say, like, okay, I don't want to just keep chasing my tail, making the same videos over and over and over again. It's not it's not worthwhile, honestly. Um, so just do something else. If it means that I can't do this for a living, what else am I going to do? What else am I going to do? I of course, I've done fine. I'm paying the bills. I'm doing the thing, whatever. But it's I don't want to. I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to resort to like tabloid YouTube YouTubeism, right? So yeah, but that's what the leak videos are. It's tabloid news. It's like everything on YouTube is tabloid. There's no substance because there's nothing to talk about, right? Not so many deals on the Sennheisers. Sennheiser sold their headphone business to another company, and so I don't know how that's impacted. I think it's a company that makes hearing aids. And the first thing I think of is Beltone, but I don't think that's who it is. It's a company that's well known for making hearing aids. Um, now, yeah, so I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So let's look it up. Sennheiser sells headphone division. Yep. Okay, here we go. Let's bring this back. Boom. And go to window and do this and share and turn it on. There we go. Sennheiser has sold. Music Tech says Sennheiser has sold its consumer electronics division to hearing aid specialists Sonova for a reported $241 million. That doesn't seem like very much money. As part of the deal described by Sennheiser as a cooperation, Sonova will take over the development and production departments of Sennheiser's consumer audio business. So, yeah, there you go. I don't think that they're going to go away, but there have been changes. Like, they spun off the gaming headset stuff to now it's their own company called Epos. And so Epos is now doing the headset stuff, and it's no longer branded as Sennheiser. But yeah, $241 million does not sound like a lot of money for a company that has the profile in that industry that Sennheiser has, right? Oh man, if Bigfoot had a daily driver, that would be awesome. I mean, you would think that Bigfoot would have to be like rocking the Galaxy S8 Active, right? I mean, why did Samsung quit making the Active phones? The Active phones were cool because it was the freaking case manufacturer lobby. They're like, no, you can't take away our business by making phones that won't break. So, yeah. Genosis said, I mean, they've changed manufacturing for the 600s updated version, and they're great. I didn't know that. I still have my old 600s. I'm hoping to get the 6XXs because those are obviously based off the 650s, and I've never actually had a pair of 650s. I've just had the 600s. So yeah. It'll be interesting to 30 years of I mean, the 600s themselves have been out for 30 years. I mean, Sennheiser's been around forever. So yeah, less than $250 million. It's crazy. Managed to get some SSDs and a CPU cooler. Still no GPUs. Yeah, I have a friend from college who likes to like try and get stuff. Like the PlayStation 5 that I got, he just bought it and then like sold it to me for cost. Because he just likes trying to get these things. So he's gotten several 30 series GPUs. He's gotten 4 or 5 PlayStations. But man, I don't have the patience for it. Yeah, if you like, I don't have a Micro Center or anything like that in my town. The only place in my town that sells PC parts is Best Buy. And if you go to Best Buy's PC section, even though the parts section is really small, it's only half full. And when you look in the case, they've got like one i7 10,000 or 11,000 series K chip one, no Ryzen chips, a bunch of motherboards, some RAM, not much. Samsung has, what are these X Cover and X Cover Pro? Did not know that. Still looking for a clear upgrade to the 600s, man. Honestly, if you like the 600s and you have an amp that's driving them well and you're liking the way that they sound, I don't think you're going to find an upgrade to the 600s until you're willing to pay 2 to 3 times more for another set of headphones. And even then, like, I've found that the more expensive headphones become more esoteric and sort of niche-y. And I don't always like them. Although I did just get these. This company reached out to me. Let me shut this down. This company reached out to me. What are they called? Harmonic Dyne. This is freaking, it's like a Pelican case. This thing is intense. So this just came to me, and look at these things. I could make it some kind of crazy like cheese out of that or something. I don't know. They got wood on them, and the pads are nice. The pads are very velvety. Pads are very nice. So I got to try these out. Serial number 1200. Actually, say what the serial number is. Has anybody ever heard of this company? Harmonic Dyne, Dyne. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to trying those out. They smell like glue. I think I'll do like an unboxing short on the YouTubes. Chronic Town says when YouTubers talk about their passions, the videos are great. When their own content bores them, the video are dreadful. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, you know, there are ebbs and flows in everything, right? I mean, sometimes you love your job, sometimes you don't. But yeah, I finally just had to decide that to talk about something different than what I was talking about entirely, because there was just nothing in the smartphone realm that I felt like talking about anymore. So yeah. And luckily for me, when Apple announces lossless audio, spatial audio, all this stuff, I talk about Apple stuff often, so I get a lot of views from Apple stuff. So it was a natural pivot point for me to go back toward the audio stuff. It seems to be going okay. I'm enjoying it more for sure. So yeah, it's a very interesting. Yeah, it's a very hard thing to do, like to keep yourself engaged, and year after year after year after year, it's sort of like talking about the same things, and you got the same cycle, and et cetera, et cetera. And I think I talked about, having a conversation with John Rettinger about how he just approaches it as a business. Like he doesn't see himself like he doesn't see himself as naturally like an artistic guy or anything like that. And so he was just, he looks at it as a business, and in this business, you do these things. And that's a really refreshing way to look at it, because then it takes the pressure off of it being personal, right? But YouTube is also a very personal medium. It's a very like, one-on-one kind of feeling medium. So it's really hard to it's really hard to sort of stay engaged in that way all the time. I mean, I've been thinking about doing like sort of more vloggy stuff and that kind of thing. Just because, like, I don't know, I've got lots of good stories to tell, I guess. I don't know. Derek asks, what's the best $150 headphone in my opinion? Well, Derek, that's a good question. I mean, you've got stuff in the $150 range, like the Sennheiser HD 599s and 98s. You've got, of course, the Audio-Technica M50Xs. Those are good as well. See, but those the M50Xs are more of like I don't look at them as like a music listening headphone. They're kind of a lifestyle headphone in my estimation. The Hi-Fi Man HEXXs, the Hi-Fi Man HE4XX, that is on the drop right now, is on sale for $160. And those are really good. But the only thing about planar magnetic headphones, and that's what they are, and they sound really, really good, but you kind of have to have some kind of amp to drive them. I don't think it has to be a super expensive amp, but something. But yeah, around 150, there's just a ton of stuff. But I'd probably lean toward the Sennheiser, like the Sennheisers in that range, like the HD 599s, something like that. Or do they have it? I think they have an upgrade for that now. I can't remember. It's been a while since I checked them out. Um, AJ asks, have I tried Audi's headphones? Yes, I have. I have a pair of Audi's LCD ones that I just started listening to again today. I've had them for a while, and I promised them a review, and I haven't done it yet. They also sent me the Penrose gaming headset, and the Audis, much like the Hi-Fi Man, the Audis LCD 100s are smooth, very smooth. They are planar magnetic headphones, and they are just, there's something about those planar magnetics that are just, whereas a speaker can kind of an un an un I don't know how was like a not so sophisticated driver in a headphone can blare at you at a certain point. Um, Whereas the planar magnetics, they never seem to get harsh. They never seem to like blare at you or anything like that. They just kind of yeah. They're very smooth, and they don't seem like their perceived loudness is not as loud, if that makes sense. They don't sound as loud. Um, they are loud, certainly, but they don't sound as loud. I think a lot of people, when they first try planar magnetic headphones, they're like, "Oh, the volume isn't as high," but it's sort of a perceived volume thing. Um, so yeah, Aldo asks, do I have the profanity filter on? No, I think that YouTube just naturally has a profanity filter on the chat, and because I've gotten caught and had stuff taken, like, not go on as well. I might be able to take it off, but I think YouTube just puts it there because it's a chat on YouTube. Most interesting. What's the most interesting question consult you've ever had? Oh man, I don't even know. Wow. I mean, I've done stuff like that in so many different arenas. It's really hard to answer that question. I mean, I've helped people. I guess the one that I'm let's say the one that I'm most proud of. I had a student when I was working at the med school, gifted writer. She came from Yale, and was just really a great writer coming in. And she took a couple of my classes, and a couple of years into med school, she said she wanted to apply to the Iowa Writers Workshop. And I had no doubt that she had the skill to get in, but the Writers Workshop is a graduate program that's 1,500 people apply, 25 people get in. That's literally the numbers. So it's just kind of a crapshoot. And we worked on her stuff, and just I just worked with her on her stuff, and helped her put together a packet, and she ended up getting in, and I was just really proud of that. Not because of anything I did, but just that I helped facilitate her getting that work done, and getting to that place. And now she's God, I'm losing words. Old um, anesthesiologist in Texas, but also a fantastic writer. Um, let's see. Chronic Town says, I'm a freelance writer and editor and have edited a lot of crap. But like you said, that's the business. Yeah. Yeah, so there's this young lady. She's 20, I think 27 or 28 years old. And she had an article written about her that she was making like $300,000 a year freelancing on Fiverr as a writer, ghostwriter. And I look at that young lady and I say, no, no dissing the young lady. I mean, obviously she's very skilled, very talented, but I'm like, I could do that. I could do that. I mean, I can write 1,000 words in like a half hour. I can do that. So why am I not doing that? I don't know. I don't know. um, when you start hawking Manscaped products and start talking about your, yeah, I have to admit, I like the humor. I like the humor of the Manscaped stuff, but like once you get to a certain age, like you don't really need to scape. You don't need to manscape at a certain age. It's, you just, if it starts to get uncomfortable, that's when you have to manscape. Because you're not trying to prove anything to anyone. Nobody's going to be looking at that stuff. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I could do that. I could do that. So why am I making YouTube videos and not doing that? Because I love to write and I'm not writing. I'm for the past 3 years almost. I've been doing YouTube like day in and day out. I haven't been writing. I haven't been making music. I've been doing YouTube. And I'm starting to wonder, like, is it diminishing returns? Is making these YouTube videos really as important as is it important at all to make these YouTube videos? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it is or not. I could just as easily grab a good paying half-time job at the university, do this or whatever else I'm going to do, and have plenty of time and not have to worry. Like, and Jim, yeah, I've thought about trying to do both, but I always like, there's always more that I could do. There's always more that I could do for YouTube. And so since YouTube is my main focus, I wake up and I start working on YouTube stuff. And there's always stuff that's not done yet. So yeah, I don't know. America's Finest says it's becoming less and less important, at least for pre-recorded videos anyway. Yeah. I mean, I like the vibe of live streaming more than pre-recorded videos, but there's an ebb and a flow. I mean, I don't know if I could make a living doing live videos all the time. Jim says Fiverr takes 20% and it's the worst clients ever. But that's, yeah, I get it. But bad clients are part of building a business too. So it's like, eventually you keep going, you make more money, you get better clients, you satisfy those clients, and then, it just keeps building. But it takes time. It's like I was saying earlier, like everything is on a schedule, whether you realize it or not. Like, I have a friend who says that like Nashville or New York or LA, they're all 5-year towns. And what my friend means by that is that you move to a town, let's say you want to be a musician or whatever, whatever career you want to go into, you move there. It takes you 5 years to really embed yourself, get into the town and its people and the vibe of it and everything like that. And build a foundation to become successful. So anything, whether it's Fiverr or whatever, takes an investment of years to build to build a real business. So like I said on Twitter today that like, July is the anniversary of when I put in my notice at my job. So 2 years doing YouTube full time, and I've been paying the bills and I've been doing all that kind of stuff, but I'm just kind of like, is this what I want to keep doing? I don't know. I mean, on one hand, the challenge and the excitement of building a business is fun, but on the other hand, like, I mean, sometimes when you're doing like the less and less stuff to talk about, the less and less exciting it is to do it. So yeah, I mean, when you're doing Fiverr, yeah, Fiverr is taking like $2 out of every 10, right? And it takes a lot of time to get to the point where you can charge 25 or 100 or 150 or 200. Like this young lady that I was talking about who's doing the freelance thing, like she's ghostwriting books and, so that's like a whole different level of project, but it took her time to get there. I think she started, like she quit her full-time job at 23 and she's 28 now, 27 now. So yeah, it's like around that 4 or 5 year time frame, you know? So let's see. I still remember you as Mark, America's finest. Um, I see channels doing it different. They'll take 1 or 2 weeks to create really great video, release it, and do very well. Yeah, it depends on the genre as well. I mean, there are channels that only do one video a month, but it takes them a lot of time to do that video, like animation channels and stuff like that. And then, the expectation for their audience from their audience is that there'll be one video a month. Now, the thing about a tech YouTube channel is, well, I mean, you could build it in a bunch of different ways, but most tech YouTube channels are predicated on like what's happening in the moment, unless you're focused on one niche very specifically and it's not time sensitive. Um, and so you end up being kind of like on this like, hamster wheel, just spinning and spinning and spinning. And you lose. The one thing that's frustrating and is difficult for me to kind of get my head around is that you lose perspective and you kind of forget what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it and all that kind of stuff. And then you go down like a little rabbit hole. And the next thing you know, like your channel's in the shitter and you're like, oh my God, I got to go back this way. So, and you learn from those things, it's just like you learn from that stuff, but it's always kind of hit and miss. I mean, if you're doing YouTube full time, anybody will tell you this, and you've heard it a million times from folks like Roberto Blake and anybody else. Like, if you're going to be a full time YouTuber, the majority of the money that you're making better not come directly from YouTube, because that's a recipe for not good. But it ebbs and flows too. Sometimes when you're building the business, the AdSense money means more in one month than it might in the last month. So it's that's the one thing that I found in these 2 years, is that I'll have some months where it's like, oh, I don't have to worry about anything. And then some months where it's like, oh crap, I got to make up X number of dollars. How am I going to do it? And I've done it. But I'm not a business person. This is one thing that I've come to understand. I understand business, and I've been, a professional for a long time, and a creative professional at that. But there are some things about the business side of being a creative person that are just anathema to me. And there are people smaller and bigger than me making 10 times the money that I'm making, and doing it easily because it's something that they're good at doing, and I'm not good at doing it. And I'm trying to find my like ins and outs, but I could be like badgering you guys for super chats every 10 minutes. And I mean, I don't know how successful that would be. I think everybody's going to find their own style. My style just seems to be like not making as much money as other people. Is that the lady from CNBC? I think that is where I saw, I think that is where I saw her initially. I follow her on Instagram now. Let me see if I can. So she always has like an Instagram story up, so maybe I will see. Yes, here's her. Alexandra Fasulo, Fasulo. That's her name. She's doing like a mentoring thing on Instagram, and well, I think the mentoring thing happens on Facebook. So Mark, America's Finest says, I disagree that you're not good at this. Painfully honest take. That's just not the case. Your Can You Trust series was great, but yes, the Can You Trust series, though, I mean, that was 3 years ago. What have I done lately? I mean, the Can You Trust series hit. I mean, a lot of times when something like that hits, it hits at the right moment, and it sort of and you try and sustain it through that moment, but then it's not going to work forever. And I just felt like I just felt like the Can You Trust thing sort of ran its course, and I did like 20 or 25 episodes, and as I got toward the end of that, they were getting fewer and fewer views, and there just weren't as many people to make videos about. And my channel had changed, because when I started doing those videos, I was under 100,000 subscribers. And when you go over 100,000 subscribers, then like I feel like you're viewed in a different way. You're like I don't know. I mean, I always looked at YouTubers who were over 100,000 subscribers as like, really doing it, or they had reached a certain plateau, right? They got the silver play button and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like Can You Trust just kind of like ran its course. So yeah, but yeah, the unpopular opinion thing, I still want to do more of those. I've got to recognize the opportunities. A lot of times I'll do something that that could be an unpopular opinion video, but I just don't put it together that way. So I'm trying to put together a schedule, like a real schedule of content, so that I'm not just reacting, I'm being proactive. I think once that's in there, once I get something like that going, then it'll be more solid. But I've been saying that for like a year and a half. Thank you, Aldo. Yes, I am a failure. It's okay. Marcus Fine says there isn't much AdSense money to be made these days as it is anyway. I will admit that the AdSense money is less than it was a year and a half, 2 years ago. That much is for sure. And I mean, it's a combination of a bunch of different things. I mean, I think the ad rates are lower in some cases, but also the views have gone down. At least for me, they have. I know some people are, the views have gone up. But yeah, I never really want to, I never really want to have to worry about AdSense other than like, as like a cushion for the pushing, as they say. So, Coal Region Rider. What coal region are you in, Rider? Picking up Sennheiser HD 660s and AudioQuest Cobalt on Saturday. Then I'm getting me the Apple Music. Yes. Good choices. I do get a lot of evergreen views. And so one thing it's another balance that I need to make is I need to make enough stuff that will become evergreen, and enough stuff that sort of is in the moment that will get views like at the time that I release the videos. So yeah, but like the SteelSeries Pro wireless headphone review that I did early last year still gets anywhere from like 3,000 to 15,000 views a month. And when I first released that video, it got like 1,000 views in the first 3 months. So it's, I have several videos that do well. Review videos do well. Like right now, my WXM4 Sony video is still doing well. It's in my top 3 or 4 every week. And that video has been out for a few months now. So as long as I keep doing reviews, that those are the evergreen videos. I'm hoping that I can have more evergreen videos in terms of like, a lot of times they're like top 5 lists and that kind of thing. But I also want to do some of the stuff that I'm doing in terms of like helping people learn how to listen to stuff and that kind of thing. I'm hoping those become evergreen as well, because I want to talk about more of the stuff that I know that I couldn't talk about when I was talking about smartphones because it just wasn't relevant, right? So I'm trying to balance stuff, but it is hard, and as soon as like it seems as soon as I have a good week or two where I'm getting some momentum, something in life will happen, something will happen newsworthy in tech, and then I have to cover that, and that messes up my whole thing. And the one thing that I have to stop doing, and I am going to stop doing, is taking products, whether it be for sponsored videos or just because I'm interested in the product. A lot of times it's I'm just interested in the product. Stop taking those products to review because there's they don't get the views that I want them to. So anyway, but that's again, just learning stuff. Like, how niched down can I be without being like only talking about wired headphones? It's like only talking about wired headphones would get just as boring as only talking about anything. So, that's kind of the whole thing. Pennsylvania, coal region rider. Where in Pennsylvania? I don't know if you know this, but I grew up in northern West Virginia, right on the Pennsylvania border, like literally 2 or 3 miles from the Pennsylvania border. So, what do I think of the M50Xs? I like them. I mean, I don't find them to be like a really true headphone in terms of like you're not getting you're not you're not getting a flat response or anything like that, but they are fun, good sounding headphones. They have more of a smiley face sort of EQ curve to them. They're very comfortable. You can change out the pads and they can be even more comfortable. So yeah, it's yeah, I like them. I think for the price point, they are a good option for sure. And you don't need a DAC or an amp or anything like that with them. They're very sensitive headphones. I think they're like 32 ohms. So yeah. America's Finest says, excuse me, I genuinely find you to be one of the more talented tech creators in our little groups. Oh, thank you, man. To say you are not good at this is rough to hear. Well, yeah, I tend to not give well, this is part of the pattern for me. It's both a good and a bad thing in the sense that like it's a good thing because I'm never satisfied with what I'm doing. It's a bad thing because I have a really difficult time recognizing my successes. So I appreciate that, man. I really do. 45 minutes from Philly, my in-laws owned a bed and breakfast in Lancaster County until about 3 or 4 years ago. And my wife grew up in Pennsylvania, mostly Western Pennsylvania, and then moved to Easton, and then moved to so yeah, I know that. I know the whole area. Got married in Easton. Well, really Lehigh, but still. Anyway, ex-wife is from, well, there are a lot of ex-wives from West Virginia. Yeah, we are hillbillies. It's true. Brian NC81 is originally from Morgantown, West Virginia. Well, so am I, Brian. That's crazy, man. I grew up in Morgantown. Lived the first 21 years of my life there. Crazy. That's crazy. Were you born in 81? Is that why you got NC 81 there? I was born in 71. So yeah. That's very cool. That's very cool. Did you go to Morgantown High School, University High School? I need to know. Chronic Town says, passionate. You are a passionate mentor. Talk about writing, how to listen to music, books would be very, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind, yes, those are the things that I am passionate about. And I do like to talk about a lot. I graduated in 1989 from Morgantown High School. Now, I know that in the ensuing 30 years, Morgantown High School and University High School have kind of like traded places. Not University High School is where all the rich kids go, because and Morgantown is more like, sort of. But Morgantown High School was like the cool high school, and University High School was where all the kids from out in the county went. So it was kind of like a clodhopper kind of hillbilly high school, but it's not that anymore because there's all kinds of rich people out by the lake. So yeah, I graduated from Morgantown High. That's crazy. That's crazy. I never get anybody from my hometown here. That's crazy, man. Very cool. That's very cool. So Lee's been to Morgantown to buy his chewing tobacco. Man, first time I ever encountered nicotine was with a plug of chewing tobacco that me and my friends found on the ground in our neighborhood. And if you don't know, so there's either leaf tobacco that comes in a pouch, or it comes in what, I don't know if it still does, but it comes in a plug. It was just basically like a hockey puck of tobacco, and you bite a piece off of it and then you chew it. Well, I was probably 8 and didn't realize that you weren't supposed to swallow the juice. and so me and my friends, we swallowed the tobacco juice and puked all over the place. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, those were the days. Those were the days. Aldo says, I was driving through West Virginia on my way to Snowshoe. Yep, no Snowshoe. A lot of abandoned houses in the rural areas. There are a lot of abandoned towns in West Virginia. West Virginia was built on coal, right? And so coal just flew out of there on trains all over the place, right? And then coal stopped being the thing, right? And so there are entire towns that were like boom towns along the railroads coming out of the coal mines all over the state. And now those towns are deserted. Like if you look up West Virginia deserted town, you'll find people who do tour, there's people who do like urban, ruins tours and stuff like that, who are touring entire towns in West Virginia that have like 5 people in them. And yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. And the problem with West Virginia is there was never enough money there to build into something else. So when you talk about poor white people and desperation, there are towns that are literally dying. There's a documentary called Oxiana, and it's about a town in West Virginia that basically became a ghost town because everyone got addicted to opioids, and the town just died. And it's not uncommon. And I'm not going to get political about it. It's very, very near and dear to my heart, that state. And I wish that when we left New York, we moved back to West Virginia, bought a house. I thought that's where I was going to raise my kid, because I was born and raised there, and I liked it. But it's just not the same. West Virginia is not the same place it was when I was growing up. In some ways, it's bigger and more urban. In other ways, it is like hollowed out. I think if you so it's Oxy, Oxy, Anna. So Oxyana, I think I found it on I want to say I found it on Amazon, but I know I also saw it on like Apple's movie thing. So yeah, it sucks. You probably could. Left Morgantown after college. There weren't many opportunities there. Nope. Still have family in Morgantown. We'll probably take a trip back this summer. Only a 6-hour drive from North Carolina. Yeah. my mom and brother still live in Morgantown, and I just realized that I went back as a musician. I used to play. Well, you probably know these places on the 123 Pleasant Street, all those places. Like I grew up in those clubs and played music there, like from the time I was 14, 15, all the way until I left. And some of my best friends in the world are people who are connected to that. And like 6 or 7 years ago, I can't believe it's been that long. We had reunion and went back, and that's I haven't been back to Morgantown in probably 5 or 6 years. But um, my grandmother passed away in January, COVID complications. She was in her 90s. It wasn't she had a great long life. So she had passed away, but we didn't get to have any kind of service. We had a Zoom viewing, which you want to talk about bizarre. Going to your dead grandmother's funeral home viewing via Zoom is weird. Very weird. Um, but yeah, so I'm probably going back in early July if I can. But then again, I mean, I've got my grandson here now, and I don't know how much I'm going to need to be there. Yeah, that movie is from 2013. There's other stuff out there uh, about West Virginia. There's one about an EMT nurse, I think, who sort of takes on the opioid crisis in her town in southern West Virginia. West Virginia is not John Denver's West Virginia anymore. Kind of, kind of. I mean, I stay connected to Morgantown and WVU where I went to undergrad. I stay connected following the sports. And so like WVU football, basketball, those are things that I follow religiously and watch every game that I can. I mean, I think I missed like 2 basketball games last year, 3 maybe, and 1 football game because it wasn't on TV. So, I mean, I have really I have really clear ties that way, but what precipitated the move to Iowa seems like a very chill place. Never hear anything happening there. Is that just media bias? Well, so I moved to Iowa to go to grad school. I went to so if if you're not familiar with writing and sort of like the whole writing scene, the Iowa Writers Workshop was the first graduate writing program in the world, and has since for I think it's now like 85 years, and produced about 30 Pulitzer Prize winners and 10 MacArthur Genius Grant winners. And like Flannery O'Connor went to the Iowa Writers Workshop, uh, like Raymond Carver, like lots of famous people. So yeah, so I came out here, I got into that program, and that's what brought me out to Iowa. And then Iowa Iowa City is more um Iowa City is more like Morgantown was when I was a kid than Morgantown is now. Morgantown is a small town with a big university in it and not a lot of room to grow because it's a very it's in the mountains. So it's in this valley in and amongst the Appalachian Mountains, and it is very close quarters, and it's kind of grown just really tight, and it's not comfortable like it used to be. So um there's a part of me that wants to have a place there. There's a part of me that wants to move back there. I still have many friends that live there. They've made good lives for themselves there. They like it. They are glad they never left. And I have other friends that left and never came back. And I'm somewhere in between. House, where do you live in West Virginia? I can't believe now we're talking about West Virginia. Um, yeah, my mom still lives in the house that she and my dad bought in 1968. Um, Little 2-bedroom house, cracker box kind of thing. Um, yeah. I miss it. I think the one thing that I always try and explain to people about being from West Virginia is that it's not like being from other places. West Virginia is unique in a lot of good and in some bad ways. I mean, it's the only state that was ratified during a national conflict, and and so in 1863, during the Civil War, West Virginia broke off from Virginia and became a state. And so the North has, in many ways, never claimed West Virginia. It's officially like below the Mason Dixon line. In fact, part of the border of the state is the Mason Dixon line. And then the South doesn't necessarily claim West Virginia either. So it's kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the United States. And it's very poor, very close knit, very passionate, very, very passionate people. Summers County? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Live in an 1872 one room schoolhouse on 3 acres. That sounds awesome, man. That sounds fantastic. I mean, honestly, something like my dad built a little cabin for himself. It was like, well, it was a house, but it had a loft sleeping area and stuff like that. Um, and yeah, yeah. I mean, he lost it in bankruptcy, and he's been dead now for almost 20 years. But there's a part of me that wants to go back really bad and live in a place kind of like what you're describing, where you live. My ex-girlfriend from high school, she and her husband bought a farm in the northern panhandle, or the eastern panhandle, and they're doing that thing. And sometimes I look at what they're doing and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Sometimes I just feel like so disconnected from everything. Yes, Jim, you are correct. Dennis Johnson did go to the Iowa Writers Workshop. Funny, I've met Dennis Johnson. I met him several times. He was a really nice guy. He made a record with another musician that I know. But he also came to the workshop several times over the years that I've been here before he passed away. And funny story about Dennis Johnson. When he was like getting out of high school, he applied to the University of Iowa for the English writing department, right? And he thought that he got into the writer's workshop, but he didn't. He got accepted as an undergraduate, not a graduate student. So he came to Iowa and he stayed and he did the whole thing. and and then he did get into the writer's workshop. But everything in Jesus' Son is semi-autobiographical. And so, funny story, the story Emergency. So Dennis Johnson worked for a time as an orderly in Mercy Hospital in Iowa City. It's just a hospital right downtown. And he worked as an orderly, and there's a big sign, like it's just a street level sign. It's not like other hospitals where there's, you kind of have to drive through a big parking lot. It's just a street level like sign that says emergency. And that's what he took the name of the story from. And that is the hospital where my grandson was born last week. so yeah, very Iowa City is like steeped with stuff. Like Kurt Vonnegut finished Slaughterhouse-5 here. Just all kinds of stuff. I mean, that's another part of my life. I could talk for hours and hours and hours about writing and writers and everything else. Jefferson incorporated Summers County first as an unconstitutional act against the people with only 30% approval. Hamilton ordered against Jefferson. Yeah. There's all kinds of really weird West Virginia history. Like, did you know that there was supposed to be a 14th colony, and it was going to be called Vandalia, and the capital of Vandalia, which was going to take up Pennsylvania, part of Pennsylvania along the Ohio River down through Ohio, part of West Virginia as well, what is now West Virginia as well. And it was going to be this huge colony on the western side of the colonies. This is back before the Revolutionary War. Benjamin Franklin was behind it, and it was going to be called Vandalia. Point Pleasant, West Virginia, was going to be the capital, and so the lines were surveyed, everything was going to happen, and then the revolution happened, and the colony never came to be, and so everything just went back to the way that it was, and 100 years later, West Virginia was made. Very, very interesting history. I saw that. Yeah. I'm scrolling back here for a second. Brian asked if I ever partied on Grant Avenue. Yes. Man, Sunnyside in Morgantown was. I lived up on a hill in Sunnyside for a summer. It was a summer to remember, if I could, but I forget it. It's a long time ago. I drank a lot that summer. A girl destroyed my heart, and I ended up dating this crazy girl from Moundsville, West Virginia. She was crazy, but in a really fun way until it wasn't fun anymore. That was 1991. Yay. Anyway, I'm over 2 hours. I'm over 2 hours, and I'm just rambling on about West Virginia now. You guys have been awesome. I'm gonna jump out of here and get a little snack and watch a little TV and wake up and make some videos tomorrow. Maybe I'll wake up and write some tomorrow too. You got me thinking in a West Virginia way. So where you where you live used to be a part of Greenbrier. Interesting. Yeah. It's unincorporated. Man, I've tried to explain unincorporated to people before, and they don't understand unincorporated. You guys have been awesome. This is, good stream tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being around. I always write about West Virginia. If you guys, I've written one novel. It's available on Amazon. It's actually the ebook is free because I don't care if I'd rather people read it than make money. Remember how I said I was bad at business? It's called The 14th Colony. It's sort of, The 14th Colony by Jason T. Lewis. And it's free on the Amazon. I can find it real quick if you guys want a link. Actually, I've got a link tree now. I keep forgetting that I have a link tree. So go here. There we go. Go there. And all of my links to all my music, my book, everything is there. And if you do check it out, write me a review or drop me a line on Twitter or whatever. Let me know what you think of it because, I have another book finished and another that's like percolating. So anyway, but YouTube took over my life and I haven't written for 2 years, 3 years, almost. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Once again, thanks so much for being here. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL, Painfully Honest Tech, live. You never know what you're going to get. Till the next time.